Oh yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man VACAY-J, and yes, I am back with another live event just for you. But today we're doing something different. Now we're not doing Power Today, as you see it, as you're joining me. Yes, we are covering Atlanta. That's right, the TV show Atlanta. You know, I've been watching Atlanta for quite some time now, since the first season, and yeah, I never got a chance to really cover this. So today we're going to cover season 4 of Atlanta, right? Episode 1 and 2. That's right. So for all my Atlanta fans out there, if you're loving Atlanta, go ahead and hit me with that like button. Absolutely. If you're just joining me and finding me for the very first time, definitely do me a favor, hit me with that subscribe button. And we're going to break down episode 1 and 2 and recap it with you today. All right, fam, you already know what we're about to do. Let's do it. With another live stream. Here we are, fam. The new VACAY-JTV. Oh yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man VACAY-J, and I'm super excited. Why? Because we are here to absolutely share with you and recap Atlanta. That's right. One of my favorite shows on the low. Like a lot of people don't know, I really like Atlanta. I really like the show, but I've never gotten the opportunity to cover the show. So today we're going to be recapping episode 1 and 2. So join me as I break it down. And again, I like this episode. First thing we got to do off the top, you know how we do it on the VACAY-JTV and Friends show, right? What we got to do is we got to rate this episode. So I want to rate this episode number 1 of season 4. And I want to definitely give this episode a 9. And I'm going to give it a 9. And then once we cover episode 2, I'm going to definitely rate that as well. But I give it a 9 because it was very, very detailed. It was to me, it was a great beginning of the season. Nothing too crazy, nothing too weird, right? Great episode starting off the season, fam. So I'm excited. Why? Because I'm going to cover this show. What's going on, Darius? I see you. Thank you for joining me today. And yes, we're going to rate this show and break it down as we usually do. All right, fam. So if you're just joining me on the live or you're watching the replay, definitely we're going to break down Atlanta right about now. So the name of the first episode of season 4 of Atlanta is The Most Atlanta. The Most Atlanta. And the description reads, The Most Atlanta, whoa, chill. ATL is ghetto these days. I'm thinking about moving to Miami where it's safe. Leave all my exes on read. Okay. And you're going to see why, he's talking about that. Right. So this to me is coming from Earn's perspective. Right. To me, this is like Earn's show. So if you remember, if you watch ATL, we're talking about, that's right, we're talking about Earn. We're talking about Alfred, AKA Paperboy. We're talking about Darius, and we're talking about Van. Okay. So let's get into the first part of the episode. We're going to talk about this here. This to me was hilarious, right? So this is Darius' shopping experience, okay? Darius's shopping experience. And basically, there's some looting going on, okay? People are in there and they're doing all types of stuff, right? They're robbing the place. It looks like some type of Target or something like that. And they are taking whatever they want. They're taking whatever it is that they want. So what's happening here is Darius is walking in the store. He's not looting. He's just walking by like nothing is happening. I mean, people got on masks. They're taking clothes. They're taking all types of stuff, right? So he's walking in And he's like, la, 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 whatever, whatever. And he has an air fryer. So he's going over to the guy at the customer service. And he's like, hey, what's going on, man? The guy's hiding behind the register. He's scared, right? Scared out of his life. He's like, yo, they're going to kill me. They're going to do something to me, right? So he's like, hey, man, I'm here to return, this air fryer, man. I just want to get my money back or whatever the case is, or get another one, whatever it is, right? So he's like, hey, what's up? And this guy right here, what's his name? His name is Chris. Chris is like, man, do you see what's going on here? Do you understand what's going on, bro? Like, do you see that there's some looting going on? There's rioting going on. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, right? And Darius, Darius, he's in his own world most of the time. He's doing his own thing. It doesn't bother him. He is the most unbothered character because he does whatever he wants to do. So he's like, listen, man, I just want to return this air fryer, get up out of here, and do what I need to do, right? That's it. I just need you to return it, do whatever it is. So, I mean, the guy's like, all right, whatever. Okay, he'll do it. So Chris is going in there. He rings it up to give him his refund. This guy right here turns around and they look another way and people are going crazy. This guy, Chris, runs off with Darius's money. So, I mean, all that time, he could have just easily opened up the register if he wanted to do that and take the money and run, right? Nah, he was just waiting for the right moment. He was scared, and he rang up his return and took Darius's money. And Darius is like, come on, man. Like, seriously, bro? Like, like, seriously, this is what you're going to do? So what happens here is, Darius is like, all right, let me get up out of here, right? Let me just get up out of here. A lot going on. I'm not going to get my money back from this return for the air fryer. What happens? What happens is he runs into Karen, but just Karen in the wheelchair. Now, again, I'm looking at this because there was a lot going on. There was a lot of riding going on in Atlanta. And I believe that this actually happened like in real life. I think this happened in real life where people were looting, people were taking stuff, and there was a lady in a wheelchair trying to stop them from getting out of Target in real life, right? So what happened here is this lady right here is just going berserk. Like, she's going berserk, and she's like, yo, you're not leaving. You're not leaving. I'm not going to allow you to leave, okay? I'm not going to allow you to leave, okay? It's just not going down. So what happens? I tell you, man, this is crazy right here because I swear this happened in real life. So Darius leaves out, right? He goes out the other door. He's like, man, I don't want to be bothered with this stuff. I don't want to be bothered with none of this stuff. So then you see these two people roll over with the fire extinguisher, right? They roll over with the fire extinguisher and they spray the lady, right? They spray the lady with the fire extinguisher and she screams. She's like, ah, right? She screams out of her mind. And I swear, like I said, I swear I've seen this on the news. I've seen this on the news. If you saw this on the news, drop your comments below. I remember seeing this. So she comes out and Darius is just standing there. I'm like, why are you just standing there? Darius just like, leave. Just go ahead and leave. The lady's going to come out. She's going to see you, right? So she comes out, sees Darius, and she pulls out a knife. Everybody ran away. Everybody already ran away. And now she is after Darius. And this is where the episode begins. Okay, Darius is now on the run. He's like, whoa. And now he's on the run. And this lady is literally chasing Darius down to try to stop him from taking the air fryer. But that's already his air fryer. Like, he came in the door with the air fryer. So this is the beginning episode of Atlanta. And again, guys, I am letting you know that if you haven't seen Atlanta before, you definitely need to see it. You definitely need to watch the first episodes and really watch the first season. Just watch the first season and you'll see how different it is because it's very, very different than anything you've seen on TV. Okay, so let's get back to it. Let's get back to it, fam. I enjoy this show thoroughly and hopefully you will too. Hopefully you will as well because I think it's funny in many ways. All right, so now let's move on. And again, I'm not from Atlanta, but I did stay in Atlanta for quite some time, for about 4 years. So I love Atlanta. I love the people there. I love the greenery. I love the scenery. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful state. I love Georgia, period. But at the same time, what I don't love is this the ATL traffic. That's one thing that you can keep. Atlanta, you can keep that ATL traffic, right? So we are in Atlanta traffic. So Al and Darius are in traffic. And now we're going to see Paperboy, right? Paperboy is waiting in traffic. Of course, this is the norm, but he's trying to get to the airport because he's trying to get out. He's trying to go away. He's trying to just do something. He's trying to just get out of Atlanta, right? So Darius creeps up and pops up, knocks on the window. And obviously, he was in traffic and he took that air fryer to the store to try to get the return. He said, by the time I get out, you still going to be here. So, yes, Al is still there. Paperboy is still there, waiting in traffic. Nothing is moving. They are like, man. So, pretty much as Al is waiting in traffic, he's listening to one of his favorite rappers called Blue Blood. And he found out that Blue Blood actually died. He just found this out. So this guy, Blue Blood, obviously is a big influence on Paperboy, right? Paperboy, that's Al right there. And he's like, man, that's messed up. That's messed up. He just found out he passed away. So they're listening to his music or whatever. And while they're listening to the music and waiting in traffic, Darius is looking in the rearview mirror. What do you think Darius sees in the rearview mirror? He sees old girl in the rearview mirror. Coming down the lane, in between the lanes with all the cars. Crazy, right? This lady is insane. She's coming for Darius. Darius, you better run, son. You better run, right? So he's coming down, and Darius is like, yo, I'm going to get out right here, man. I'll meet up with you later. So she's coming, and she literally sees him in the car. He gets out the car, and she tries to slice him. He ducks her, gets away from her. He's like, lady, what is wrong with you? Why you keep coming after me, right? So he runs off, and she is still chasing him down with this slow ass wheelchair. I'm telling you, it's hilarious. It is hilarious, right? I'm just watching this thing like, this is crazy. Of course, Al is like, what the heck is going on? This is super weird, right? Super weird. All right. So now, next thing we go to is Ern and Val. We see Ern and Val, and they are now going to the mall. They're going to a place that I kind of remember, right? They go to a place, I believe, for all my Atlanta folks out there, ATL folks out there, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they're going to the Battery, right? They're going to the Battery to shop. They're going to some type of mall, okay? But yes, it looks like Van has to go to the AT&T store because she needs a new phone or she broke a phone or whatever the case is, right? So they go upstairs and they're about to go to this store, okay? And what happens is somebody says, hey, Ern, how you doing? Come to find out, this is Kenya right here. And Kenya is Ern's ex-girlfriend, right? So they used to go out. He's like, hey, how you doing? You know, people run into each other all the time, especially in Atlanta. Atlanta's pretty small or whatever, or some people just go to the same places, you know, whether it be Buckhead or whatever the case is, right? So yeah, they run into each other. It's like, hey, what's going on, Kenya? How you doing? Da, 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 right? Oh, I'm just shopping, whatever, right? Van introduces herself. I'm Kenya, I'm Van, whatever. And you know Van is his ex-girlfriend too, but that's also the mother of his child. So, you know, they got a connection, right? So they go to the AT&T store. She's kind of fickling around. She's like, man, I wish I just had, you know, some type of better phone or whatever the case is. And what happens next? What happens next is that another young lady pops up and she's knocking on the window like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening, man? You know what I'm saying? What's that? Like, she's knocking on a window like she is literally like, hey, good to see you, good to see you. And Ernest like, okay, like this is the second ex-girlfriend that he sees popping up while they're shopping. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be kind of weird for Van as well. It's got to be kind of weird for Van to be seeing, you know, the two ex-girlfriends popping up on Ern like that, right? So next thing you know, this guy shows up and it's Amir. Who is Amir? Amir is, I don't want to say the ex-boyfriend of Van, but I believe that they went out, right? So they have a connection. They went out a long time ago. Gonna find out they went out 10 years ago and he took her to a concert and he's still working at the AT&T store. He's still there helping customers or whatever the case is, right? So let's count the number. Two ex girlfriends of Earns show up, and now this guy shows up who was an ex fling or whatever he was to Van. So she's like, yeah, he took me to a concert 10 years ago. We saw this rapper or whatever. But yo, it's crazy because he's still working here. Like he's still here at this particular mall. So it's kind of weird, little Twilight Zone type of thing going on. But yeah, Ernest's like, okay, well, whatever. He's unbothered by it. He's not tripping over it. All right. So now let's talk about Paperboy. Okay. Still in traffic. Nothing is moving. This is Atlanta. Atlanta traffic does not move, fam. It just does not move at all. If you ever been in Atlanta traffic, it's crazy. But Paperboy is waiting in traffic, and this guy got this Dominique Wilkins old school jersey on, and he's live on his phone, right? So he sees Paperboy, goes in front of his truck, and is like, yeah, my boy Paperboy, we're in traffic. So he's now fronting. Some people, they fronting like they know a celebrity or whatever. So that's what he's doing right there. He's fronting like, oh yeah, Paperboy, he's in the car, we in traffic, what's going on, da 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 da. He's trying to zoom in on him, but can't get too close. And Paperboy's honking at him like, yo, what are you doing? He's clout chasing. This kid is clout chasing, right? So Paperboy, Al, right? Al, he finds a way to get out there and go get some gas. So he's out of there. This dude is like, okay, I'm coming. Busy fronting like he knows Paperboy. So Al is at the gas station and he's listening to Blue Blood, right? He's listening to his album. And as he's listening to the lyrics, I mean, this is the dope part of this show. As he's listening to these lyrics, he's saying, yeah, he stopped by this place called D&D Barbecue to pick up a zoo pie, right? So as he's pumping gas, Al is looking and he sees this D&D barbecue place, the same D&D barbecue place that Blue Blood is rapping about in his song. So he's like, let me just go up in there and ask for this zoo pie, right? So he's like, hey man, what's going on? I'm trying to get this zoo pie. You know what's up with the zoo pie? And he's like, zoo pie? He's like, yeah, you want a zoo pie? So in the rap, Blue Blood said, yeah, go in there with the guy with the blue eyes, mean mugging to get the zoo pie. That's what he says, right? So he's asking for a zoo pie. This guy right here puts on another song by Blue Blood. And it's a totally new song. It's a song that I've never heard before. And it's saying, make a meal for my enemies, make a meal for my enemies, right? So this guy's making this zoo pie for Al, and Al goes and sits down. In this song, fam, this is how introspect, this is how they set this up. I like how they set this up. In the song, Blue Blood is rapping. He's saying, there's meat in this over your head. My meat goes over your head, right? And as you see in this picture, there's meat packages over his head as I'm sitting down with my back against the wall. So he's literally doing exactly what the song is saying. He's sitting down with his back against the wall and he got meat over his head. Real crazy, real crazy. Okay. So the guy makes the zoo pie. Okay. He makes the zoo pie. Very interesting stuff, like. And you see what it is, right? What is it? Cheetos or Fritos with a little bit of sauce on it. And Blue Blood in this song is still rapping. He's like, yeah, I got the sauce. And all of a sudden now I got my logo, but you can't see it. But here is a logo. This is Blue Blood's logo. And there's an address underneath the logo. I don't know if y'all can see that. There's an address underneath the logo, right? So he's like, yo. Alice like, what is this? What is this? He's asking the guy. He's like, yo, man, is this a scavenger hunt? Is this a scavenger hunt? Like, do you know like Blue Blood? And he's like, Blue Blood? Who's that? Right? So he's acting like he doesn't know what's going on. But this is the first clue in Blue Blood's scavenger hunt. All right. Okay. Now let's go back to Earn and Van. Okay. Earn and Van, they are still at the mall. And they are kind of tripping, right? They handle what they needed to handle at the AT&T store. But at the same time, they are now seeing a lot of their exes, right? Or people that they messed with, right, in the past. So Earn is like, yeah, I see this girl right here. And in the background, again, you got to listen to the music in the background. In the background, they are playing Deborah Cox's song, How Did You Get Here, right? They're playing that song, How Did You Get Here? Meanwhile, Ern and Van are like, yo, our exes are here. Like, why are they here? How did these exes get here, right? You know, the song is about how love came into Deborah Cox's life and she wasn't expecting it, right? Same thing here, how these exes are now at this place, this shopping mall, and they're like, how did you get here? Like, that's my ex from way back. Da 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 da. We did this, we did that. You know, Van is like, yeah, I see this dude, this African dude I was messing with one time, but here he is. They're all there at the same time. Like, what is really going on? It's kind of weird, kind of like a Twilight Zone type of thing. But she's like, listen, I'm ready to go. She's like, I'm ready to get up out of here. This is super weird. Let's go. Let's bounce. Like, this is crazy right now, right? So he's like, all right, let's go because this is weird. I'm seeing all my exes. You're seeing all your exes and whatever. So they go to the parking lot. And this is kind of funny. Why? Because if you've ever been in Atlanta, you go to a lot of different shopping malls. And a lot of times you have a good time, but sometimes you forget exactly where you park. So they're trying to find their car. And it's a whole bunch of people. But guess who he runs into again? Here's Kenya. But now she's acting like, she's like, hey, stranger, how you doing? And it's weird because, again, they saw her earlier, but she's acting like she didn't see them at all. Like she's never seen them at all. So this is real weird. She's like, hey, stranger, how you doing? And Ernest like, I just saw you. We just saw each other. She's like, huh? He's like, yo, how long you been down here? Like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, I got lost. I'm looking for my car. That's the big joke. Everybody looks for their car in Atlanta. Sometimes they forget because they have too much of a good time, right? You have a good time in Atlanta, you forget where you park. So she's like, okay. Like, how long have you been down here? Ernest's like, okay, we passed the Regal, right? Movie. What was the movie that was showing at the Regal movie theater before you came down to the parking lot? And she says, you can see me too, right? Now you can see me too. Now, for those who don't remember, Now You Can See Me Too was that magic movie with, Morgan Freeman and all these guys, some of these guys that you know, right? Mark Ruffalo was in it back in the day before he became the Hulk or whatever. This was in 2016 when this movie came out, right? Was in the movie theaters. So Ern is like, yo, this is crazy because that's probably when they were going out back in the day in 2016. And she's talking about this movie. Real different, real weird. So Ern is like, all right, good to see you. Bye. Ern and Van's like, we got to go. And the girl's like, is this bad? Is this a bad thing? And he's like, no, it's not bad. It's not bad. So they run off because they're trying to get away because they're seeing all these exes. It's definitely tripping them out. It's definitely a trippy episode. All right. Now let's go to your boy. Your boy Darius is still on the run, right? So he gets some type of bikes, gets somebody's bike, and now he's riding with this air fryer. I think he's still trying to get away from this lady. So he goes to this warehouse area, right? He stops and he hears this noise. It's like a little noise, right? And who is it? It's this lady. It's the same lady, and she's chasing after Darius to try to stop him from stealing the air fryer that he already bought. Like, this lady is showing up everywhere. Super weird. Like, what is really going on with this lady, right? So he's like, listen, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why you chasing me. Like, why are you chasing me down? It's real weird. I don't know what Fox News told you, but I'm not looting. I was just returning my air fryer, right? So she rolls up. She tries to roll up. He gets off the bike, right? He jumps up to another level and she can't get him. And he's like, see, you can't get me now. I'm right here. So she's like, I'm going to wait. I'll wait for you. And she got the knife in the hand. Like, she really going to do something. Like, she's so slow. She ain't going to do nothing to Darius, right? Darius is like, yo, this lady is driving me nuts, right? Driving me nuts. So he goes through the gate and he runs off. I mean, yo, boy, he got to get up out of there. All right. And she's still going to chase after him too. Okay. Here we go. Now, Al, a.k.a. Paperboy, is still on his mission to do what he needs to do for the scavenger hunt. He's on this blue blood scavenger hunt. So he's listening to this album. The album is telling him exactly what he needs to do, just in rap form. So it leads him to this pool here. And he talks about, yeah, old ladies dealing with the blue devil, right? They're in the pool and they're working out with these blue workout weights, right? Those water weights that they got in there, right? So he goes in and the rap song, the lyrics lead him to this locker room, and he looks in the locker, and what does he find? He's like, yeah, blue chips. And he's mentioning this in the rap. Blue chips, you don't got enough blue chips. And this is Blue Bloods. This is another clue on this scavenger hunt, on Blue Blood scavenger hunt. Okay. All right. Now, let's keep going. He's finding, again, Paperboy is finding all of these different clues. Now, he's still listening to the lyrics. He's still listening to the songs, because this is going to be what's going to give him the next clue. So the next clue is for him to go ahead, play some games, and win a whole bunch of tickets. When he plays the game, wins a whole bunch of tickets, he goes to the counter, hands in his tickets, and they give him this exclusive t-shirt with 2 thumbs up on it. Again, the song is mentioning 2 thumbs up. Like, it's kind of dope the way this guy set it up, this Blue Blood guy set it up. So Al is following these clues. So he puts on the shirt. Next thing you know, he meets up with this dude. And the dude is like, yo, let me see your shirt. So he shows him the shirt, puts the 2 thumbs up. Next thing you know, this guy right here has not only a play button on it and all these different symbols, like, it's a radio or whatever the case is. He actually has a QR code tattooed on his arm. Crazy, right? So what does Al do? Al goes ahead and he scans that QR code. Now the QR code then takes him and shows him an address and takes him to what looks like a comic book store or some type of, nostalgic store with toys in it or whatever, some type of cartoons type of store, right? Something like Hot Topics or something like that. So he is telling him to look into this comic book. And what does he see? He sees another clue in the comic book. This is crazy, right? To me, like, this is super dope to me, right? So it's like, find me at 526 Beecher Street, right? At 6 o'clock, right? So it's giving him a clue. He's following the clues, right? He goes and he continues to listen to this album. And the song, the lyrics lead him to a laundromat and tells him to go in to this particular laundromat. It's an out of service dryer. And it has 3D glasses. Like, yeah, I'm 3D. Like the way that he's rapping, he's talking about the 3D glasses. And the next thing you know, leads him to a movie theater. And he's watching this particular movie. And there's clues in the movie. He's recording it as well. This is like crazy to me. I think it's dope. I personally think it's dope the way that this guy has done it. And all of that leads him to this storefront right here. So Paperboy finds all the clues and he shows up at this spot. All right. So now when he goes into the spot, this is Blue. We find out that all of that, finding all those clues, led up to Blue Blood's funeral. This is a funeral spot. Like, they made a storefront into a funeral for Blue Blood. So what happens is he goes in and he doesn't know what's going on. He sees this lady and she's like, oh, you here for Blue Blood? He's like, yeah. Is he performing? He's like, nah, he's dead. He's been dead for quite some time. You're like the 5th person to show up. So what happened was, when he found out that he was going to die, he made a whole album, set up all of these clues, and those people who were real fans followed the clues to his funeral. So yes, Paperboy is a true fan. He followed the clues, and his wife, that's Blue Blood's wife, is explaining everything to him and just letting him know that only 5 people actually showed up. He thought more people would show up. The guy put his heart and soul into it and everything else like that. I mean, what a way to go out, right? You're going to pass away. You make an album. Those people who are true fans, they follow the album, get the clues, and then you go to see him, right? But, Paperboy, Al, he's like, yo, he really was a big impact to me as an artist, right? As a rapper himself. So he's telling the wife this and everything. And she's like, yeah, those plants over there, that's for you too, right? I don't know if you guys can see the plants. The plants over there, that's for you too, for coming to the funeral. And track 11 is going to show you exactly how to take care of them. So this guy was so thoughtful that he made songs not only to give clues to make it to his funeral, but also how to take care of the plants and gifts or whatever it is. I mean, it's kind of dope to me. Y'all let me know. Drop your comments below. Y'all let me know how dope this is. I thought it was pretty dope. So he's talking to his wife like, yo, can I go up and to the coffin and just kind of pay my respects? She's like, yeah, go up there. So Al goes up there, and what does he see? He sees a skeleton with clothes on it and an Atlanta hat. And she's like, oh yeah, that's not him. That's not his skeleton. I had to cremate him a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Because it's probably stinking up in there because his body was up in there for all that time. So she had to cremate him. So he walks up. He's like, yo, what is this? So it is what it is. All right. Now let's talk about the next bullet point, the next section of the show, the episode 1. We find the great escape. Listen, they are still in that parking lot looking for their car, family. Like still in the parking lot. And again, it's a running joke. If you are in Atlanta, sometimes you just cannot find your car. Okay. So what happens is Ern finds an exit door. It's super dark in there. You can't see anything, but he's like, yo, I think this is a way out. So she's scared. Van is scared. Like, I don't want to go in there. He's like, all right, well, just wait here. And then, I'll come back for you when I find an escape. And she's like, oh, you just going to leave me here like your other ex-girlfriends? He's like, nah, I never do that to you. I never do that to you. So they go in. It's super dark. It's super dark. Whole lot of stuff going on. They are, filling on the walls, and they're like, yo, it feels like carpet in here. It's super weird. Why is the carpet wet? What is happening? And it gets so tight that it's like, yo, you got to kick me. You got to kick me. Follow the light, follow the light, follow the light. So they finally follow the light. Next thing you know, we see Al, Paperboy, with, Blue Blood's wife, just talking about whatever it is. Next thing you know, boom. Ern and Van break through the side door, and it leads them to the funeral spot for Blue Blood. Crazy, right? But not only that, they finally escaped. Kenya followed them and broke through the door as well. Weird stuff, right? Super weird. Okay. And Al is like, yo, y'all F with Blue Blood too? Like, what's going on? And the wife is like, yo, what is happening? Everybody's just in a weird, like, yo, what is really going on here, right? So what happens is they finally get out. They finally all come together. And this is the last part of it. And yeah, this is the lost and found. Now they were lost, now they're found. And guess who they see? They see your boy Darius, right? He's like just standing there. He's just standing there looking. Like, why are you just standing there just looking? Like he's still trying to get away from that lady who's trying to come after him, right? So he walks over. He's like, yo, come on, let's go. Can you get me out of here right now? Kenya introduces herself to Darius. He's like, yeah, how you doing? And she's like, oh, what's going on with that air fryer? He's like, oh, it's just a gift. I was trying to return it. She's like, oh, I forgot to get a gift from my dad and the mom, whatever, right? Again, she's still mentally back in 2016. So your boy is like, listen, take this air fryer off my hands. Here, you take it. I don't need it. I don't want it. It's been nothing but trouble. Take this air fryer. Here you go. This is a nice gift for your dad, right? So she's like, hey, okay. She's happy about it. And, Van is like, hey, you don't want to ride? Like, come on. Like, we'll give you a ride back to your car, whatever the case. She's like, nah, my Uber's on the way. Right? And then she's standing there. They drive off. Okay. And then the next thing you know, this is the last scene. Next thing you know, all we hear is, and you know what that sound is? That's that wheelchair sound. That's that lady that was chasing after Darius, and now she is rolling up on your girl, rolling up on the girl Kenya with that air fryer. Crazy episode. All right, fam. So that was episode 1. Let's go ahead and dive right into episode 2. So episode 1, again, I give it a rating of a 9. I really like that episode. I really like the scavenger hunt. I really like a lot of things about that particular episode. All right, fam. So now let's dive into episode 2 of Atlanta, fam. So if you saw again, if you're watching this right now, if you're just finding me again, my name is VACAY-J, and I appreciate you guys for watching. And if you're watching me for the very first time, do me a favor, hit me with that subscribe button. Also, hit me with that like button as well. If you're enjoying and if you're loving ATL, if you're loving the show, definitely hit me with the like button as well, because I'm about to dive into recapping now episode 2 of season 4 of Atlanta. All right, so let's get right into it, fam. Let's do it. So, what do I rate this episode? I think I rate this episode a good, solid. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I'm gonna give it a 7.5, and you're gonna see why I give it a 7.5 as we go through this. But the name of this episode, episode 2, is the homeliest little horse, right? The homeliest little horse. So if you are a fan of Atlanta, you know, like with last season, it went from seeing the main characters, right? Earn, Van, Al, and Darius, right? It was going from one episode of them and then another episode with somebody else, with like a totally different person, unrelated. This episode actually still ties back to the main characters, which is cool. Because some people in the last season was, a lot of us was like, yo, what is this? This is weird. This is out of the pocket. It has nothing to do with the actual storyline of what's really going on. So it was kind of different. So let's get into this episode 2. Now, again, the episode 2 is the homeliest little horse. And it reads, we got grown men out here being this petty. Y'all really need therapy. I don't, because I already know what's wrong with me. Okay, so that's the synopsis. They got real different synopsis. Donald Glover, man, he a real different type of dude when it comes down to this, right? So let's get into it and break it down. All right. So what do we find first is we find this lady. She's outside some type of suburb of Atlanta. She might be in Lawrenceville. She might be in Marietta. She might be in any suburb, right? And she's outside smoking, doing whatever she's doing. And this EMT guy looks like he's going in the house, probably worked all night, whatever the case is. And she's saying hello to him. Hey, how you doing? Whatever. He just walks past her like, lady, don't talk to me. Like he's not being very friendly with her, but she's saying hello anyway. And she looks like she's just by herself, walking her dog out there, smoking her little funny cigarettes or whatever, right? So she goes inside. She plays a little R&B, right? So she's into the R&B. Okay, she's in Atlanta. She likes R&B. And she goes to the window and she looks out the window. And what do we see? She lives right across from that EMT guy that just came in the door, that just went home. And the dude is taking off his shirt, right? So she a little peeping Tom, looking through the windows, looking at dude while he's taking off his shirt and the whole nine, right? So she jumps on the bed, got a little dog there, and she gets an email from this guy, Gordon Rosenbaum, right? And it's a manuscript interest, right? So it's obvious that she's a writer of some sort. And it says, I found a preview of your manuscript posted online, riveting stuff. My assistant is CC'd and will set up a meeting ASAP. So assistant, as you see, is Tracy. Okay, now follow along. Follow along with this because, again, it's very intricate details that you got to pay attention to. I'm going to break it down and bring it out to you. All right, so Gordon Rosenberg wants to meet up with this girl, and her name is Lisa, obviously, right? So she's excited. She's like, oh, shoot, what's going to happen? Whatever the case is. All right, cool. Now, as we set this episode up, we see your boy Earn. This episode is more about Earn, okay? And we find out that Earn is actually driving or whatever. Al calls him, Al, Paperboy, that's his cousin. He's like, yo, listen, man, I'm trying to get into my gaming, but I don't remember the password, right? Don't remember the password. And he's like, yeah, what's the clue? What's the clue to get your password? You got to get the clue or whatever. It says, oh, your favorite movie. So he's like, favorite movie? Yeah, must be Scarface. He's like, yeah, that's it. He's like, nah, wait a minute. Gaming, you was in middle school. Try Milan, the movie Milan. And Al is like, for real, man? Come on, man. Milan. He's like, oh, that worked. So his favorite movie back when he was in middle school was Milan, the Disney movie. Okay, go figure. All right. So what happens is Al is just like, yo, so where you going? Like, what you doing today? He's like, yeah, I'm going to therapy. He's like, I'm going to therapy. It's like, oh, okay, you going to therapy. What's up with that? So, uh, Al is like, oh, see, my money is, you definitely using my money, man. You know what I'm saying? You getting my 15% as my manager, and now you using it to pay somebody else, right? So Ernest just like, yo, man, just take care of that real estate stuff. I'm out, right? He doesn't really look too happy to be going to therapy, but this is what he has to do, right? This is what he wants to do. So he goes to the therapist, and yeah, we find out that Ern actually went to the doctor. He went to the actual physical doctor, and they say that something's wrong. Like, he's stressed out. They saying that he has a tight shoulder, and his chest is tightening up, right? So something obviously is going on with Ern. He got some health issues, and but he's still kind of like answering the phone while he's trying to do therapy, and it's very distracting. So the therapist is like, hey, listen, we're not going to be able to get through this if you continue to stay on your phone. So he goes over to him like he's in school, like, hand over your phone. Ernest like, yo, come on, man. So he puts the phone in his pocket, and they sit down and they talk. And we find out that, Ern definitely, he's going through some stuff. Like, he's stressed out. He has a lot of anxiety going on. And, he's telling the doctors that he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him, but the doctors don't believe him. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yeah, I don't want to be put in the hospital and laid up in the whole nine. Like, I got things to do. He has a career going on. And we find out that, they actually put like an EKG on him. It's like weird. Like, they put like an EKG system kind of to monitor his heart, because at any given moment, he might be stressed out and have a heart attack. I mean, if your left side of your shoulder is hurting, and that's where your heart, that's where your heart is, right? So, he's real kind of like upset about what's going on. And, the therapist is asking him like, yo, why are you so stressed out? And he's like, I'm not. My career is great. I'm making a lot of money. I got an offer to go to California, to do some creative consulting. And he's excited about it. But at the same time, the therapist is asking him, hey, listen, how does are you having anxiety because you're scared of what Van is going to say, that you may want Van and your child to go with you, and she may not want to do that. And he's kind of like thinking about that as well. He is having anxiety about that and all this and that. So again, this episode, very introspective. It's all about Ern and finding out exactly what's going on with him, right? So he's having a little pain in his shoulder. He asks, the therapist if he can lay down, right? So he's like, yeah, you can lay down on the ground. So he lays down, and I guess that makes him feel better. Okay, now, here we go. Let's go into the next bullet point. Lisa actually goes to the office, right? She goes to Mr. Rosenbaum's office. The meeting is set up, and she goes there, and she's ready to, have a 10 o'clock meeting with this guy, right? Who she got an email from. Guess who you are now going to meet? You're now going to meet the worst receptionist in the entire world. Like, this dude is on the phone screaming at the airline. He's trying to change his flight, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs. So she's coming in like, hello, I'm here for my 10 o'clock appointment. Hello, I'm here. He's like, oh, you the 10 o'clock? And he's whispering. He's like, just sign in. Still on the phone. Doesn't get off the phone. He's the worst. Like, the worst receptionist you will ever meet, right? So she does what she does. She signs in. He's like, yo, go over there. Go over there. Go over there. And she's like, what? He's like, go sit down. Right? So this dude, again, the worst. If you ever had a bad receptionist, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So this dude, along with being the worst receptionist, this guy, he goes into the waiting room, right? And he says, yo, hey, come on. Like, come on. How unprofessional can you be, bro? Like, hey, come on. Yeah, you ready, right? So she goes in and she sits down with this guy, right? Rosenbaum. And he's like, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Yeah, we found your script online. We found your children's book. So we come to find out she writes a children's book. She wrote a children's book, and it's called The Homeliest Little Horse. Okay. So he's like, yeah. So, have you do you have somebody, a publishing company or anything like that? Like, somehow, some way he found it online. Kind of sketchy, right? Kind of sketchy. He found her book online. Okay. So She's like, nah, I don't have, any publicists, anything like that. I don't have a publishing company. Maybe you can give me advice. Da da da. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, listen. You know, first rule of negotiation: never let the person know that you're not really wanted. It's super funny. He's trying to give a lesson like, don't let people know that nobody really wants you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to negotiate for a better term. Let me do that. So she's all laughing because she's excited about this. First time somebody actually offered her anything or tried to help her with her book. But this guy's like, hey, listen, I think I can help you out. We can possibly get you a publishing deal and get you this and get you that. Like, you could be the next, have the next Harry Potter books, and really gassing her up, really gassing her up. So here comes the worst reception. He's like, yo, your next appointment. It's like, yo, your next 10:30. Like, he just totally interrupts the meeting. He's like, oh yeah, okay. So the guy Rosenbaum is like, hey, listen, Tracy, my assistant. And he's like, yeah. He's like, no, I'm not talking to you, Tracy. It's like, Tracy, my assistant, he already set up a reading for you so you can read your book to children. And we already set up a meeting so you can meet this actual lady that possibly can get you signed to a publishing company to publish your book worldwide. And you can really blow it up. Like, he's really gassing her up to really become this great, like, children's book writer. Okay. So she's like, really? Really? So she's all surprised. He's like, listen, I accept. I'm going to be your booking agent. Don't worry about it. Da da da. So she's excited. He gives her a card. She can't believe it. She's shocked out of her mind. This is happening all too fast. And he's like, hey, listen, take care of those grades. Spruce yourself up for the reading. Make yourself look really good. Go to this shop and they'll take care of it, right? They'll take care of it. So she's excited about everything, right? Follow along if you haven't seen it. But if you have seen it, you know exactly what's going on, right? So she's excited about it. Now, let's shoot back to Ern. Ern is with the therapist, and come to find out that the therapist, he plays the keyboard or whatever. So he's connecting with the therapist in many different ways. So Ern sits down with the therapist, and now we find out about Ern and his connection to Princeton. Okay. So Ern is talking about how he went to Princeton. He became, an RA, like those people, they handle the dorms or whatever. Okay. And what happens is he's talking about how he had a friend and she helped him get a suit. Now, he's one of maybe 5 black kids at Princeton at the time, right? Now, again, the reason why we're talking about Princeton is because Princeton offered him, to come back to Princeton and actually get a degree or whatever the case is. And he's like, nah, forget all that. I'm super successful now. That's the only reason why they want me back. And they need to give me an honorary degree, right? So he's talking about this girl, right? He's talking about this girl that was his friend. And, she helped him buy this suit. And he really needed this suit in order for him to do what he needed to do, right? So the suit is in her room in the dorm. And he needs the suit. So he's calling her and texting her and everything. And she's just like waving him off and the whole nine. Right. Now, again, he's the RA dude, right? He's the guy that kind of handles all the dorm rooms or whatever. So she keeps waving him off and tells him, listen, I'm not around. You can't get your suit. I'm not around. So he's like, yo, I really need the suit to handle what I need to handle. So what does he do? He gets the master key. And then he goes into her room, and takes his suit, and then he leaves. So now, because of that, that was a big mistake. And she got mad. She was furious. And it turned from that girl being his friend to being his frenemy, right? Because she was upset that he went in her room and violated and all this and that. And they made a real big deal. He just wanted his suit. It was his suit. He wanted a suit. Made a real big deal about it and made him out to be this black monster that raided this white girl's room and destroyed stuff. And nobody wanted to listen to him. So he felt abandoned. He felt like, nobody wanted to listen to him. He felt powerless, right? And now as he's telling his therapist this, and his therapist is just opening up, well, how'd you feel about that? How'd you feel about that? And Donald Glover actually does his thing and he sheds a tear. He felt like I felt like I was helpless. And the therapist is like, you felt helpless like when your family member took advantage of you too. So now we find out that, yeah, your boy Ern might have been molested by one of his family members a long time ago. And he felt powerless about that too. Like, yeah, it gets real serious, fam. It gets real serious. So he cries about it. The therapist is really trying to comfort him or whatever, so he can, grab onto his feelings and everything else like that. But yeah, it gets pretty deep, man, really deep. And he really, at this point, has like some type of breakthrough. Okay. But yeah, it gets pretty serious. Definitely watch the show. Okay. Now let's get back to Lisa. So Lisa's happy, she's laughing, and now she's having lunch with her best friend. So, they're chopping it up, laughing, key, right? Key, and all of that. And Lisa basically is like so happy. And her best friend is like, yo, why you so happy? And she's like, mm-hmm. She's like, oh, you getting some? And she was like, yeah, I wish. She's like, nah, I quit my job. Okay, so now we find out that Lisa had a job. Okay, and she quit her job. And her friend is like, what? Why you quit your job? Like, what's going on? Like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, I got a possible publishing deal, but I got picked up by a booking agent, right? And he can possibly get me a publishing deal for my book. So her best friend knows about her book. Her best friend knows about her dreams, and kind of find out her best friend has been supporting her, right? But she's not too excited that she quit her job. Like, why did you quit your job? I know you got this book or whatever. And Lisa believes in herself. She's like, I believe that this can blow up. I believe what the guy said to me. I believe everything, right? So she's like, I don't know, friend. I don't know if I can, I know you've been through your struggles. I know you've been through this and that, but I don't think I can give you another $500 to help you out. Like, seriously. So it's obvious that she's been helping her out. And she's like, listen, what do you think about my books? Like, tell me. She gets up and says, tell me you like my writing. And her friend doesn't say anything. So she obviously does not like her writing. She doesn't believe in her book. She doesn't believe in what she's doing. And she's really upset that she quit her job, because now her best friend kind of feels obligated to help her in one way, shape, or form. But she's letting her know, hey, listen, I can't give you another $500. It's just not going to happen. Okay. It's just not happening. Okay. So she walks away. She's upset that, she's like, you ain't my best friend. You're not my best friend. Okay. Now let's go on. Ern goes back to the therapist, right? And there's a box on the couch, right? So Ern goes and lays on the floor, and he's like, yo, what's that? Another box? Like, you creating a band or whatever? And, the therapist is like, nah, it's a gift. I got a gift for you. So he's like, for real? Oh man, I don't want to open it up in public. What if it's terrible? So he opens it up. Guess what it is? It's a some type of bed or some type of pad that you put on the floor when you're laying on the floor. He's like, listen, I figured you like laying on the floor. Here it is, right? So he lays on the floor. He's like, all I need now is some music, da-da-da. And therapist is like, yo, that for another time. So Ern starts to talk about something else now. He talks about something that has to do with him trying to take Van and their child to Sesame Place, right? It's a domestic flight. So because Ern has been all over the world, traveling with Paperboy, he used his passport a lot, right? So now I guess that's his only ID is his passport. I guess his driver's license. Now it's a domestic flight. I don't know why you need to use a passport for a domestic flight, right? So that's all he has. So something happens with Van's ticket, and it's messed up. So he's like, listen, we got the, VIP stuff. Let's go in here and let's go handle it. And then boom. So then she's like, yeah, I need your ID. So he already checked in, but she's like, I need your ID. This lady at the desk is like, I need your ID. So kind of find out that, he talks to this lady, and this lady is giving him a hard time about his passport because the passport pages are kind of, wrinkled or whatever. It's not really good. So the lady is giving him a problem now about a domestic flight and his passport being all kind of wrinkly or whatever the case is. Like, he traveled a lot because he rolls around with Paperboy and his cousin, right? So, this lady's giving him a hard time, and then he's like, yo, I'm going to try to, the sympathetic role. I'm going to try, to kind of pull on her heartstrings and let her know, hey, listen, I'm here with my child, trying to take her to Sesame Place. Like, here's the tickets. Like, we're just trying to get her to have a good time. Can you help me out? And the lady still refused to allow him to go on the flight because his passport was all wrinkled up. So he's pissed off. Of course, he's like, I don't want to go crazy. I'm up in this airport. I'm with my child. I'm with Van. I'm not trying to be on, put on the no-fly list, right? I need to like really be cool. So he just said, forget it, we're not gonna go, whatever, whatever, right? So he's still upset about it till this day. But the therapist's like, okay, well, you handled it. And he's like, yo, man, like I need to handle stuff out of spite, right? So then now they're talking about spite. They're talking about being spiteful and getting back at people and everything else like that. And your boy Ernest, like, sometimes being spiteful is very powerful, right? But the therapist is like, hey, listen, sometimes it is powerful for you, but at the end of the day, it's going to leave you empty and depressed if you are petty like that and get people back like that, right? Y'all drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts on that. You know what I'm saying? So he's talking to him. He's like, yeah, you're right, Doc. You're right, whatever, right? So Ern gets to the point where he's like, okay, well, you know what? I've been thinking, you've been giving me a lot of tools on a lot of things. It's been very helpful. I had my breakthrough with Princeton, and he was talking about Princeton and how he wanted to go back and prove himself to this girl, but really it was about him having that breakthrough about the Princeton stuff. So this guy's really helping him out, but at the end of the day, Ern is on some like, hey, listen, it's been great. It's been fun. I want to try, all these tools you're giving me by myself. So I don't think I'm going to come back to therapy. So they kind of like having a little like, okay, I'm telling you straight up. And Ern was being straight up. And I'm like, yo, this is it. He's like, yo, that's cool, man. You didn't send me a message or a text or whatever. It's like, yeah, he's like, he wanted to give him the little bed back. He's like, nah, man, go ahead. Take it. It's a gift to you, man. It's too small for me. He's like, yo, man, stop joking. Stop joking on how short I am, right? So they leave, and it is what it is. Okay. So now here it is. It is now Lisa's big day. Lisa's big day. She got her hair did. She got the dog. She got a new dress and the whole nine. So she's walking up in there. And yes, Lisa Mon reading her book, The Homeliest Little Horse. So this is a big day for her, right? Like first time she ever is having a reading, and she's excited about it. So it looks like it's in a library, some type of library. The lady at the desk is like, you can't bring that dog in here. What's wrong with you? Can't be bringing that dog in here. She's like, no, I got paperwork. He's like, my companion, my emotional companion or whatever. So this lady, she look like she don't play. Our sisters. You gonna follow the rules. You're not bringing the dog in here. She's like, it's not happening. So she pulls out the paper and all this and that. She's like, oh, you must be Lisa Mon. You here for the reading, right? She's like, how'd you know? Oh, the dress and everything else like that, right? So she's like, listen, you still can't bring that dog in here. Bottom line, like, our sisters don't mess around. Okay. So she's like, listen, you got to decide. Either you want to leave the dog outside or you ain't going to have a reading. And she's like, yeah, I see you took care of your hair. You went to this hairdresser down the street, right? She's like, yeah, how'd you know? He's like, yeah, because we all do it. All right. So now this lady right here, I tell you, weirdest puppeteer, right? She is super weird, and she's singing to the kids, super weird with this voice, like real weird. And these kids are singing along. They got the kids there, and she's trying to quiet them down. It's time to read. It's time to read. And she's making this voice. I'm like, super weird, though. Weirding me out, okay? Weirding me out. All right. So now she's like, shh, everybody be quiet. It's time. It's reading time. It's reading time. Okay. So Lisa goes up with her book, and she's proud. There's cameramen there. There's a photographer there. They got the guitarist guy. He's on the side. So she's feeling herself, like really, really, this is it. This is it. It's huge, right? Huge day. So she starts to read her book, and she's reading this book about this sad, ugly horse that's on the farm. Nobody wants to hang out with the horse. And I think this story is kind of about her in a way, right? Because she's kind of like a loner or whatever the case is. And, this little girl is like, yeah, that horse don't have no friends because it's ugly and just really making some real bad comments about the book. And then she goes on with the story. She says, yeah, a spark hit the farm, and the barn lights on fire, right? So now, this is supposed to be the publicist lady looking to see the reaction of the kids and see how good the book is, right? So she reads the story and he's like, yeah, that horse is ugly and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, they just keep dogging this horse and this story, okay? So The barn is on fire, and she's trying to tell the story that, the ugly horse, the loneliest, whatever horse goes in there and tries to save him. But as she's telling the story, there's smoke coming out, and these horses are making faces and they're showing their backside. So what happens? This little boy is like, look, they're farting. They're farting. The horses are farting. He's like, what? She's like, what are you talking about? They're not farting. It's a fire. It's like, nah, they're farting. They're farting. Look at the horse. He's farting. So he's like, come on, man. You can't see that. You can't see that they're farting. They're all farting. Like, he's really pleading his case. Like, lady, you know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Meanwhile, there's a camera behind recording the whole thing. And now she's looking at her own book like, yo, does it really look like that? So she's doubting herself now. The kids are doubting her and everything else like that. The publicist lady, quote unquote publicist lady, she walks out and leaves because the kids are not feeling it, right? The kids are not feeling this story at all, right? And she's still trying to tell a story. She's still trying to tell all of that. And look at the lady behind her, though. She still got the puppet up. Like, why you still got the puppet up? Like, what is really going on? So the kids are not feeling the story, and that kid walks out because she didn't agree with him that the horses were farting. So eventually they're like, I don't like this story. And eventually all the kids leave. Even the guitar guy, he walks out and leaves, right? It's like, dang. Man, but there's still cameras there. They're still rolling. They're still taking pictures. The lady behind us like, yeah, keep going, keep reading it. There's a little girl. She is so upset. She's so upset the kids left. The lady publicist left. Even the little girl fell asleep on her story. Like, not even interested in her story at all. Like, it's a terrible day. And it's terrible for Lisa. It's the saddest day, right? Terrible for Lisa. She is not happy at all, and she finishes her story. But come to find out, fam, here's the connection. All this time, she was being recorded. And look at her. We're now in a bar, and there's footage of her on this TV here. Come to find out, this was Ern's revenge on Lisa. I did not make the connection until the very end. It was like, whoa. Come to find out, Ern paid all of these actors to act like they were the booking agent. This guy right here, he pays Mr. Rosenbaum, right? He pays this guy. He's a paid actor. And then he also pays everybody else. So you see Darius, Al, they show up like, yeah, man, I'm glad you came. It's a celebration. He goes over to the puppet lady and gives her a envelope. He paid her too to be an actor. They're all actors. This was all a plot to get revenge on Lisa. Why? Why are you getting the revenge on Lisa? And she's happy. He's like, here's some extra money for your puppet to get new clothes, right? So he's happy. And he's explaining to Al and Darius, he's like, yeah, I put all of this together to get revenge on this lady, Lisa, because she was the one that was at the airport that messed up the trip that happened a month ago when him, Van, and their little one was trying to go see Sesame Place. Man, Ern, really, dog? You really that petty, bro? He's that petty that he paid people and set all of this up. It was all a sham. It was all a fake. She quit her job, and he's explaining to Al and Darius like, yeah, I did all of this to get that lady back because she messed up our trip, and she's probably in debt right now. He's laughing about it like, ha, 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 ha. I'm just like, wow, bro. Seriously, man? Really? You did not learn anything about anything when you went to the therapist, right? Nothing at all. So even Al is like, are you serious, bro? Like, how much money did you spend? He's like, yeah, I spent enough. I spent a lot. You know what I'm saying? I spent a lot. And they looking at him like he is crazy. Next thing you know, here comes Tracy. Oh, what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, man. Gives him his envelope full of money. It's like, yo, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And they're laughing. And Ernest like, hey, man, you better be careful because you might be next. You know what I'm saying? I may ruin your life too. So he's looking at him like, yo, for real, B? Like, seriously? But he's laughing. Ernest laughing like, nah, I ain't going to do that to you. I'm not going to do that to you. And it's crazy, fam. It just turned out real crazy how Earn wanted to get revenge on this lady for messing him up out of spite. Again, going back to the spite stuff. So right now, he's feeling energized. He's feeling powerful. He's feeling like he, did something to make himself feel better. But at the same time, Al and Darius is looking at him like, yo, bro, you are tripping out right now. So Al's like, listen, man, I'm going to go play this game over here because this guy right here is bugging, right? And Darius is like, yo, man, I don't know if this is just being petty or if this is just terrorism, right? It's just terrorism. Like, it's just terrible what Earn did to this lady, man. Like, seriously, man. And he's like, nah, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. And he's sitting there looking at the footage, looking at this lady, all depressed, all upset. Like, it's terrible what Earn did to her, man. Really, really terrible. Like, her whole life is ruined. Totally ruined because Earn was mad because she didn't let him get on the plane so they can go to Sesame Place with their kid. And he's smiling about it like, yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. At the same time, Earn, he's sitting there for a while after everybody left him. He's all alone at the bar, just sitting there. And I think he realizes that, yeah, it's exactly what the therapist said, that out of spite, when you use spite, it may make you feel powerful at first, but at the end of the day, you're going to feel empty and you're probably going to be depressed. And that's exactly where Earn is in this lesson today, right? In this right here, he's like, man, I need to go back to therapy. And that's it, fam. That is the recap of episode 1 and 2 of season 4 of Atlanta. Family, let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think about these 2 episodes. Was it good for you? Was it bad for you? Let me know your thoughts on this right here. Again, I thought the first 2 episodes, definitely great setup for the rest of the season. Again, this is the final season for the entire series of Atlanta. So expect your boy VACAY-J to be covering the rest of the season 4. And yeah, we're going to keep this thing going, fam. All right, fam. So again, if you just finding me for the first time and if you're loving Atlanta, hit me with that like button. And again, hit me with that subscribe button. I appreciate you all for coming through and hanging with me today. Thank you, family. I appreciate you all. And again, look out for the next video, the next live coming up where we're going to be covering episode 6 for Raising Kanan, right? So I appreciate you all, fam. And as always, if there's nothing else, till next time, salute.